I'm Jeff Philbin, and this is Dinner DeeAs. Today, I share my foolproof method to make perfect short ribs every time. It's just the two of us in the Dinner DeeAs kitchen today. Mano y mano. Me and you, my friends. And I'm on the case again today to solve another dinner dilemma. Karen wrote us. She's watching on Palm Harbor with her husband, Doug. Hi, you two. They saw the sous vide recipe shared by Chef David Morris from Packard Steakhouse at the acclaimed golf resort Innisbrook. He showed us how he reverse sears a steak by cooking it sous vide style, which is French for under vacuum. Karen wrote, Jeff's show yesterday gave me a renewed interest in trying my sous vide again. The sous vide recipes I have tried have been kind of bland, so I am looking for a new approach with more flavorful recipes. If Jeff wants to do another show on sous vide cooking, I would love it. Want to, for Karen? I would love to do that for you, Karen. For anyone who's never cooked or even heard of a sous vide, here's the basics. It's an almost foolproof way of cooking without the risk of overcooking. It's a controlled environment because the food is sealed in a bag and then it's cooked in a big water bath at an exact constant temperature. Sounds really simple because it is. All you need is a circulator like this one here. This right over here is absolutely approachable. In the marketplace right now, these are like under $100 and you can really find them even cheaper than that. And what it's doing here is it's heating the water, and as you see all of that movement, you see kind of the ripple effect, it's circulating that water. It's allowing you to keep it at a constant temperature that you're gonna need depending on the type of protein that you have going inside a big enough bag. Now, all you sometimes just need is a Ziploc bag, because in a little bit, I'm gonna show you the water displacement method so you could be able to do exactly that. If you wanna go all in, you've probably seen a food saver at a Target or a Walmart or even on Amazon. Now, if you're saying to yourself, okay, well, I actually wanna take my game up to the next level. This is what you would find in a restaurant. Not only is this going to take the vacuuming process and taking all of that air out from what's going to be inside that bag, it's also removing all of that air and oxygen from around the bag. I really like this. Again, this is a little bit of a higher price point, but this is something to maybe put on a Christmas list or having some fun. So that's what you need to sous vide. But like Karen says, you also need a good recipe. So for her and anyone who has a sous vide kit they used once and never again, here's my idea for dinner to get you up and running. Sous vide short ribs. Right here, we've already got our sous vide set. 130 degrees is what I want to happen. I'm going to use time and temperature to truly break down all of the connective tissues and the collagen that's inside these short ribs. Now, these short ribs are absolutely beautiful, but they need the time to render out. Now, having time allows that opportunity for all those fats, the collagen, those connective tissues to break down, melt, and allow it to still be moist rather than drying out. So very simple here. We're just gonna take a little bit of some salt, a little bit of some crushed black pepper here. We're gonna turn it over and get everything going. Now I've already got a nice skillet preheated here, pretty nice and hot. And so I just want to add a high smoke point oil. I've got grapeseed oil here that I'm just going to coat the bottom of our pan here, roll it around. Now if you at home wanted to use a Dutch oven, absolutely you can. Absolutely you can. It gives you a little more surface to kind of work with that lip, by all means. And then all we're going to do is we're going to go straight into our pan. And I want that sizzle. Now, if you want to dip your toe into the precisely heated waters of sous vide cooking, grab the recipe for what we're making today and my guide to how to do it at dinnerdeeas.com. Just get your phone, open the camera up as if you're taking a photo, point at the TV, and when that black and white box is in the frame, also in focus, you need that too, a link to us will appear on your phone. So right here is a perfect time. I just want to get a nice golden brown here. on our sides here because I'm going to really kind of be braising it in a way. Now, what I also want to be able to do is to make sure that I'm getting all sides as well. You want to lock in those flavors. You want to stand them up in your pan. Sometimes holding them into place. Look at that color on that side there. Let's get this big boy that's kind of been our brace for it all to kind of sit on top of. And we're going to get that side there and this side here seared. Locking in all of those flavors here. And it's absolutely fantastic. We're going to pull these off. Put them right back onto our sheet pan here. Now we've got some of the fat, it's already started to render. I started with just a little bit of oil, and I got a lot of flavor to work with over here. So all we're gonna do next here is just bring in a mirepoix. So we've got some diced carrots, some onions, and some celery at a nice uniform cut. This is going to be the foundation for all these flavors for our sauce to really come alive. Absolutely fantastic. I'm going to just add just a little bit more crushed black pepper, just a little touch of salt as well. And this is intentional. You want to be able to get all of your vegetables cooking first because then we're going to add in some garlic and some shallots. You don't want to add them at the same time because they're going to burn. So once we get a nice little bit of a cook, and you can see that, the vegetables are sweating down, they're becoming translucent. That is the optimal time to add in our beautiful garlic and shallots to this mirepoix. And oh, these smells are fantastic. While these guys finish up, we're gonna take a quick break. When we come back, our short ribs take a quick dip as we show you how to sous vide ahead on Dinner DeeAs. Welcome back to Dinner DeeAs. We're going under today. Under vacuum, that is. Thanks to Karen who emailed us asking us for some sous vide ideas for dinner. So I'm making my sous vide short ribs. Before the break, I seasoned and seared the short ribs, taking them out of the pan to saute our mirepoix, onions, carrots, celery, adding in garlic and shallots and letting it get to that beautiful translucent color. The smells are absolutely fantastic. And what's really nice here is now we can be able to add in a little bit of some red wine. And what we're trying to do here is deglaze our pan. We're gonna lift up any little bits that might have been at the bottom, evaporating out. Now, I see still a little bit of liquid, and that's perfect because now I can add in our tomato paste. And this is really going to bring beautiful flavor and body behind this dish. Also that sweetness that I want. And this is going to be a nice coating here. These vegetables to mix in. So this is absolutely fantastic. This is also a great means to say, hey, did I get everything in? And is my flavor going to be consistent? A quick little bit of some toasting there, and you can smell the change now. You had all of what was happening before with that garlic and shallot. Then you had that introduction of that red wine. That just brought a new waft. The tomato paste now brings another layer that's behind it all, which is absolutely fantastic. We also have the opportunity now to bring in some liquid. Now, secret ingredient here, folks. This right here. This is your flavor punch. 50-50 blend. Got a little soy sauce and a little Worcestershire sauce. I got a little bit of that beefiness, a little bit of that umami flavor. Anchovy is inside that Worcestershire sauce. And so that is really why I like to include this. This is just gonna make an absolutely beautiful, rich dish. And it just comes together. You can also see it starting to loosen up that tomato paste a little bit, which now I can add in a little bit of our beef stock here. And while I do that, I can now bring this up in heat and bring that up to a boil because I really want to start reducing down these flavors here as I make sure that I work in that tomato paste inside my pan here. And we're going to bring this up to a nice boil here. don't forget the recipe for everything that I'm making today is at dinnerdeas.com. Just scan the QR code down in the corner of the screen, and you can follow along on your phone while you watch. All right, it's really starting to come up to a nice boil here. You've got just a rolling simmer here, which now I can add just a little bit of some crushed red pepper flakes in there. I like to add that just to give it a little heat, but it's not going to really truly make it spicy. It just brings out a nice little bit of a bite here, and because of the wine, it pairs nicely. It brings out a nice little bit of a spice punch behind it, but again, not spicy, okay? It also gives me the chance to start playing with our aromatics. So I just made a bouquet garni. I've just got a little bit of some rosemary, a little oregano, a little thyme, and just some bay leaves here. And now you can start seeing it really coming alive here. It's really starting to come to that boil. And these aromatics here are going to bring just such beauty behind this entire dish. Now, you might have noticed that I have a smaller pot over here. And this right here is my demi-glace here. Now this is where if you were to do this traditionally, you'd be roasting down the bones, you'd be getting this beautiful, beautiful beef flavor going on. This would have taken a long time to make. There's a shortcut, my friends. What I did here was that I actually took some out, reduced it down. I concentrated those flavors. I had that beef broth to begin with. I had all these beautiful flavors. I just strained a little bit of it all, reduced it down. If you at home want to have an even beefier flavor, put a bouillon cube into it there. You're going to have a beautiful, beautiful dish one way or the other, and you can see that color change and variation because now this is just so concentrated with all those beautiful flavors. It's absolutely fantastic, but I want to reduce this down a little bit because we're getting ready to start bagging up our food here. So while this reduces down just a little bit more, we had our already seared short ribs. That's just going into a Ziploc bag. Now I've got the chamber vacuum sealer. I love that, but you at home, you're watching this going like, I don't have that just yet. Totally cool. We're gonna show you how to do the water displacement method. So that way then, again, a Ziploc bag is really all you really need. We're gonna take and ladle in our sauce here, just a little bit, while we finish up a little bit more of those flavors. Now, if you want to strain this out, you absolutely could do that. But I actually am gonna do that a little bit later. So we're gonna just add in our flavors. It smells so good right now inside the Dinner Dish kitchen. It's gonna smell absolutely fantastic at your house. And you actually wanna make sure that you get all of the remaining ingredients there. You had that bouquet garni. I want that. I wanna add that in. I wanna add in that bay leaf. Get that last bad boy right there. And then we also have this beautiful beef demi. Again, this is going to really be all of that extra flavor. You can see the change in colors. We can actually turn off our burners now at this point. Concentrated flavors here, folks. A little bit will go a long, long way here. We get one more in there. Now, I talk about this water displacement method. What does that mean? If I was just to go put this all together right now, see all this? That's air. That's why it's air. You see how it's just kind of big? If I was just to kind of put this and roll it around, I have the opportunity that it's going to seep out. I don't want that. You don't want that. So let's do the water displacement method. All we're going to do is we're going to put our bag on the opposite side of where your circulator is. So here's my circulator, perfectly set at 130 degrees. And all I'm going to do is slowly start pushing it along the side and down inside our water bath. And what's going to happen here is that the outside pressure is going to change. That water is going to help push out everything that's happening inside our bag, so it becomes a much tighter seal around. As I start sliding it down, more of the lip here of our pot, I then now can zipper it out, and I have a much tighter seal. Now, to keep it away from our water circulator, what I sometimes like to use is a binder clip. And why I like to use that is because it stays right there, doesn't move, because this, again, is a water circulator. It has the potential to move around with it. So this just locks it into place. And it's gonna stay in place for 48 hours. Now you're saying to yourself, Jeff, who's got 48 hours? You do, because it's absolutely worth it. This protein here, these short ribs, again, has so much connective tissue and so much collagen. You need that time at 130 degrees to really render it out. So that way it's moist, falls right off the bone, super tender, super succulent, because that fat and that flavor is going to infuse everything with these short ribs. It's gonna be absolutely worth it. I'm telling you folks, trust me, believe in me, because we gotta take another break though. See you back in 2 days. No, I'm just kidding, not really. We're gonna be right back as I share how to take 2 standard sides and make them sensational ahead on Dinner DeeAs. Welcome back to Dinner DeeAs. We're making another recipe by request. Karen wrote us from Palm Harbor asking for a sous vide idea for dinner, so I'm cooking up my sous vide short ribs. Before the break, I deglaze our pan of onions, carrots, celery, garlic, and shallots with a little red wine that added in tomato paste, plus my secret combo, Worcestershire and soy sauce. Then added in beef broth, brought it all together to a boil, sprinkling on a few crushed red pepper flakes and a bouquet garni of rosemary, oregano, thyme, and just a few bay leaves. Add a little demi-glace reduction and then got it into a Ziploc bag along with the short ribs we seared earlier, and these are absolutely fantastic. Now again, they take time, but it's worth the time piece of it all. Now we made a few earlier that we can now swap out, and this right here is going to be everything. Now these have been cooking here for 48 hours. But this right here is everything. Look at that. Oh. Now I like to use the bone, as I was saying, because it gives me a control piece as well, which is really, really nice. Now you're thinking to yourself, okay, hey, those look really good. I'm ready to go. It's not ready just yet. We want to make a nice little bit of a sauce here. Now this had everything that we had started with. We had our onions, our carrots, our celery, that rosemary, all of the bay leaf, the oregano, and that thyme. And just like that, I've got a nice little bit of a sauce here. Now, I've strained it out. I'm putting this into a nice pan here because I'm making a nice pan sauce with this. Give it a few little shakes to make sure you get it all. Boom, it's gone, just like that. Now, this over here smells fantastic. It's a beefy. It has all these beautiful flavors, but I want to be able to make a beautiful pan sauce. So I'm going to just bring this up to a nice little bit of heat here. And I've got just some butter that I'm going to just incorporate in and just melt down with it. Now, if you wanted to, and if you've watched Dinner DeeAs and you saw us have fun with our mother sauce week, you're kind of thinking, well, that's kind of like an Espanol sauce. Kind of is. If I wanted to thicken this now and add a little bit of a flour to make a dark roux and incorporate that in, you kind of have that right there. But I'm just going to slowly whisk in a little bit of some cold butter. Just to be able to bring that over. And now it's melted in so nicely. And that's it. I'm just going to let this sit to the side here. That's it. We're taking one last break. When we come back, how to plate up our sous vide short ribs ahead on Dinner DeeAs. Welcome back to Dinner DeeAs. It's a sous vide special today by request for Karen in Palm Harbor. She wanted a flavorful recipe to make in her sous vide, and trust me, Karen, and anyone else thinking of trying this, my sous vide short ribs are totally worth the wait. Before the break, I got the finished short ribs from the sous vide, and while I let them rest, I strained out the sauce left in the bag and heated it with a little bit of butter to make a beautiful pan sauce to serve it all with. I'm also serving these with 2 very special sides, my rosemary truffle mashed potatoes and balsamic roasted carrots. And if you want the recipe for those, follow where all the cool kids are at, because they're at dinnerdeeas.com, along with a video for how to make them both. So, I see a lot of food in an empty plate. I think we're ready to start plating here. So we're going to start with that bed of mashed potatoes, and we're going to go with a hefty portion here and a dollop here, because this is where it's that whole base. And what I did is I just kind of work them inside that middle here, and then just get a nice flat part all the way around, and I still have equal white space around the plate. I gotta still think about presentation here, my friends. We're gonna take our carrots here that have been roasting in that oven with our balsamic vinegar, that brown sugar, the rosemary, salt and pepper. It's absolutely fantastic. And for anyone that's saying, oh, I'm making this for the family, here's your chance to hide some more vegetables right there, folks, because this right here now is gonna be hit with that one right here. This beautiful short rib is gonna sit right on top. It's perfectly be cooked. This has now been going for 2 days here. And you think that's high? You think that looks good? Let's hit it with just that nice now pan sauce that it was just all of that beef rendering, all the flavors that started this whole thing. And we're just gonna put it right here and let it just drip down like so. Oh, looks fantastic. Bring these flavors back together with what was kind of a bind to it all, that rosemary, and that's it. This looks like I'm ready to get a fork just like you are. Karen, I hope this inspires you to sous vide some short ribs for your dinner. And if you have a recipe request, email us, dinnerdeas@fox.com. Let me know how I can help you. Don't forget, download my recipe at dinnerdeas.com. Just scan the QR code to find us. I'm Jeff Philbin. See you next time with another idea for dinner, as we call them, Dinner Deas.